Heyo! It is November 1st, and I'm in a weird spot sitting at the wrong end of my bed because the cat has stolen my spot, and I don't have the heart to push her out, mainly because I haven't been able to cuddle with her so much since it's the 1st of November. I'm doing Nanowrimo. For the first time ever, I have decided probably the worst year to just try. Today has been super interesting anyways because I have just gone through everything on Kindle self-publishing to go ahead and get the first of my Beast of Battle trilogy up, which is Wolves Rising. So that should be published soon, and I'm super excited for that. But with Nanowrimo, I thought this is it. Time to crack down and get the first draft of book number 3 for the trilogy. Number 2, I already have some drafts. I'm working on editing. Time to wrap it up because it's going to be helpful to have book number 3 done before I do all the editing for book number 2. That way I make sure I hit sort of all the points that I need to in that one. Now, I know Nanowrimo is usually focused on 50,000 words. For me, the book itself needs to be closer to 70,000 because Wolves is up at 76,000 and Eagles, it's about 10,000 less than that, so it's in the 60s range. So I want to get Crows up to that area, which I recognize is probably not going to happen in a month. But I think Nanowrimo, if I could say it properly, is going to be a really good push to just get writing every day and get words on the page. Now, what I'm actually working on is stuff that I actually got written this summer, which is not a whole lot in the span of the summer. Getting it all typed up, doing some rewrites as I do that. And my first major plan is I have this section, which is the very beginning. And then I've got this later section over here. I think this is it. No. Okay. There it is. There it is. This later section over here. Both of which can't get too close to because third book, spoilers. So much spoilers. But I'm working on getting it down. And so the first thing I really want to do is get these two areas connected, because it's the beginning and then it's more than halfway through the book. So I think for Nanowrimo, if I can connect these two sections, it's a really good move. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, already just from typing this section up, and it's not fully done, I'm over 1,200 words. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna get back to work. Let's do this. It is November 7th. Things were going well. I was on track. And then yesterday hit me like a freight train. Turns out my depression and anxiety decided to have a party. So needless to say, I went from consistently writing 2,000 words a day to not writing anything yesterday, to me having to face down the prospect of writing 4,000 words today when it is 9:18 in the morning and I need to get a bus at work at 1. I'm not sure I'm gonna get there, and truth be told, part of that is it's felt really slow for the last little bit because I'm writing this one differently, which is to say I've kind of got it planned out at least a little bit, which is not really how I wrote the first two. Like, I really just wrote bits and pieces of the first novel and sewed everything together and sort of found the story through that. And then the second novel, I had planned it out, but what I had planned out was far too short. So again, the second part of that novel was much more organic. And this time around, like, because it's the last one, I've got a start point, I've got an end point, and those two are very firm, and I know the general beats, the story beats that need to happen in between start and end, but trying to get there is a little weird. So what I've been doing is trying to plan that while I've been at work. So little pieces of receipt paper with like notes on it. And already that's gone up in flames because, well, I think I'm on chapter 4, and chapter 4 is definitely not what I thought it was going to be here. But that's kind of good because I was already concerned it was going to be a little short. Yeah. I should stop worrying about all of this. Try and at least get some words down. I'm kind of proud of myself that I kept, like, I'm already over 10,000 right now. 10,169, to be specific. So, yeah. If I get back up onto my writing every day horse, hopefully I can get somewhere. So let's see where I can get today. Still November 7th. Just noticed something funny. So, like I said, trying to write 4,000 words. I just noticed I managed to hit exactly 1,000 words written from where I started today. It's only been over an hour and a half. Oh. Well, I could try at least for my 2,000, but I kind of have to do dishes before I go to work. A little more, I think. Do you agree? A great supervisor of all of my projects. So it is now November 14th. So just about halfway through the month, and can you see it? Yeah, I'm only at like 20,000 words so far. Going by that 2,000 a day, I should have 8,000 more words than that. Meaning I'm only 6,000 behind if I don't count today, because it's only 9:30 in the morning. So I still have a chance of getting today's 2,000 done. Vaguely, not really. I got the flu. So there was a long time where writing wasn't happening, and I got back to it last night. I got the sudden urge to write. And I was sitting there sort of at the point that I'd gotten myself to, which was, I think, chapter 7. I think it's chapter 7. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, I want to write, but not this. So I looked at, like, the later section I had typed up, and I was like, I don't think I can write this either, because the problem where I'm sitting right now with chapter 7 is it's sort of a turning point in the action. There was a thing that they needed to do, and they have now officially done the thing. So, what now, right? Like, they have officially done the thing. So I need to wrap up the thing officially done. Then I need to do the next step, because the section I have that I had written during the summer is sort of a midpoint. It is during the next big action, but I need to lead into that. And I know there's a couple things that need to happen to lead into that. And it's a question of just getting those things to happen. So at this transition point, I'm kind of like, I'm not feeling it right now. And since it is a transition point into this next big action stage, I'm just kind of like, well, where do I go from here? And it turns out where I go is very far back. Which is to say that I have notebooks. And you can vaguely see them. Like, there's the red binder here, and then you can see this white. This is the back of 3 notebooks just hanging out over there. And in these notebooks is practically all of The Wolves Rising, which is the first of my trilogy. That's the one that I just recently published at the start of November. Self-published. For those of you who might be wondering now. Self-published, it's on Kindle. Links, as always, down below. And so the notebook has a bunch of Wolves Rising in it. And then the second notebook finishes up Wolves Rising and starts into Eagles Take Flight, which is the second of the novels. And I wasn't expecting to find Crow Song in there, but evidently, I'd forgotten about this, but evidently I wrote out what I thought would be the very ending of the third book. Because going into Eagles Take Flight, I knew where I wanted to be with Crow. I didn't realize the path I was going to take to get there, but I knew where I wanted to be. I knew the stakes of the game at that point. And so I was like, I read through it, very short. It was like 2 written pages, so very short. And I was looking at it and I was like, I still like this. It can't be the end. Like, why I ever thought it could be the end is idiotic, but I still like it. So then what I did is I typed that section up. I can't let you get too close to it because it's not the end, but it is very close to the end. It is the end that leads into the denouement. And that was sort of it. It was the end of the action, that I was acting like it could be the end of the story. No, there's gotta be some denouement. Gotta wrap everything else up. So from there, I was like, cool. I could denouement. I could do that. So after I typed up the end of the action, I then kept going. And ultimately it means last night alone, I wrote 3,000 words. Getting me to my 20,411. So not only did I get yesterday's word count, which I was not expecting, I made up for some of it. Yeah, there was like a day that I only got half my word count. Bam! There's the rest of it right there. And I didn't even get all of it. Like, I wrote a chapter after this ending bit. But there's still gotta be, like, another chapter. And then I think an epilogue. So I think that's my plan for this morning. And I say this morning because a lot of things happened. First and foremost, I have a work shift. So I need to get a bus at 1 to go to my work shift. But after my work shift, Nanowrimo is probably not happening because I just got the announcement from my defense. So that's happening next week. And I'm going to have to make travel plans tonight for that. Yeah, what's fascinating is when trying to write a novel in a month suddenly becomes the least stressful thing in your life. So we're gonna see how this goes. I'm actually quite proud, considering I got really nowhere on this for the past summer, to suddenly have this much and have things sort of clarifying and coalescing. Because it now means that literally I have the beginning, I have a section in the middle, and I have an end. I've just gotta sew it all together. Well, I have part of an end. I would like to actually get the full ending done next. Like, get that last chapter, possibly get the epilogue. The epilogue might actually wait until everything else is done, and then fully bring everything to bear, but okay, yeah, okay. Everything's happening right now. Uploading book and page for the day. I'm probably going to put on my writing music playlist. Yeah, okay, whew. Man, it doesn't feel middle of the month. I'm gonna regret saying that soon. Okay, let's keep going. Heyo, it is November 22nd. Oh man, am I terrible at this Nanowrimo thing. I'm terrible because I'm pretty sure I haven't written anything else since the last day I recorded. Except for today. If you're wondering about the bathrobe and the very fuzzy hair, I am traveling right now, and so I thought, hey, this would be an excellent time to catch up on some writing, because I'm doing a thing that really freaks me out, so I should be focused on other things, and writing's a thing, especially when I'm traveling, and it turns out I'm wrong. I told myself, I'm going to do a bunch of writing on the plane. No, planes give me anxiety, and I just needed to read and listen to music, and figure out very late in the trip that there was actually a headset I could plug in to, like, watch a movie, which probably would have made the trip better, but okay, I know that for the trip back. But apparently, flying, not conducive to writing for me. Which is interesting, because I spent a lot of my travel time today sort of percolating on some scenes that I was having trouble with, and I think I've got them figured out. And then I got here, and there was some time, and so I did some writing, and then I got signed into my fantastic residence hotel room, and didn't do some writing for a while, but then I did, like, a lot of writing, like, boom. Boom. And I can't get too close because it's like early middle-ish of the book. Like, that was the weird thing. The two scenes I've got figured out are not right now directly attached to anything I have written. Like, I know where they go in the story, but there's definitely, like, some lead-in to those spots that, like, I need to connect or lead out. Like this one, it's a lead in and it's pretty close, but I still have to finish another scene that I'm having difficulty with before I can lead into this one. And then the other scene I've got figured out is right towards the end. So there's some lead out before the ending I have written and typed. So I think I'm going to stop here with this one scene that I got all the way done, because personally I find it very intense, and I tried to do some body horror things, and I'm not sure how well it worked, but definitely makes me uncomfortable. So I'm going to stop there, and I think I'm going to try and write the other scene I've been thinking about sometime on this trip. I say try because while I have a lot of time tomorrow, like all tomorrow morning, because the thing I have to do is at 2:30, again, it might be like the plane thing. Like, it might be too much anxiety, can't sit down and focus. So we'll just have to see about that one. But I definitely have, like, tomorrow evening, too, that I could be working on things. And there's still some time to kill on Saturday too. So we're gonna see how this goes. And then the plan is Sunday I'm working a split shift, so I'm just gonna stay downtown. I'm gonna bring my laptop and
everything that I've written, because I haven't brought my laptop for this trip, I'm going to work on typing up that day. And maybe, if I'm really good, I can get it connected to some bits and pieces. We're going to see how this goes. I always make these big plans, and then anxiety and depression and other projects and work come along, and I'm like, well, that was the thing.
Okay, so it is November 29th. Nanowrimo has been a little hit and miss. Partially, I think I'm allowed to say, for the fact that I've been doing other things, aka I have a job. My glasses are really dirty. I have a job, and I finished up my master's program. I think those are some pretty big, reasonable interruptions, needless to say. So I am sitting November 29th at just shy, about 400 words shy at this point of 30,000. And I think I'm gonna make 30,000 because I've already written over 3,000 words today. So I'm gonna make 30,000. And I'm gonna be proud of myself for this. Anyways, no, is it the 50,000 that NaNoWriMo aims at? No, it is not. Did I write every day? No, I certainly did not. Am I finished my book? No, I have not. But I have gotten so much of it written. So much of it written that wouldn't have been written if I hadn't made this decision to try and do NaNoWriMo, and to push myself to write even at points when I didn't much feel like doing that. So I did have to switch up my strategy a little bit, because initially what I tried to do, other than having a section in the summer that I'd written that was vaguely in the middle of the text, I tried to start at the beginning and write. And I have difficulty doing this, it turns out. There are definitely people who would tell you that it's the only way to write a novel. I'm not one of those, because if I just tried to force myself to do that, I would not have gotten half of what I have written today written. So there is, like, a good chunk of the start of the novel written. And then I remembered that before I had even written the second novel, I probably mentioned this earlier, but before I had even written the second novel, I wrote what I thought was going to be the end of the first one. And I like it. It can't be the end. It's got to be in the climax, but it can't be the end of the novel. So I went ahead and added that in, and then got a lot of ideas for sort of the climax area of the book. So ultimately what I have is a huge chunk of the start written, a huge chunk of the end written, and like 2 random chapters in the middle. Partially because one of those chapters I had written in the summer, because I got a feeling for it. And then the other one, like last week, I wrote because it was a scene I was thinking about on my trip. And I ended up writing it. So that's all here now. So what I did today, because on that trip I was thinking about 2 scenes, I fully wrote one, and I started another one. So what I've been doing today is going through and finishing off chapters I had started. Because there were a couple of them. For example, that section I had written that I thought was going to be the end, I typed that up, and then I wrote all of the end stuff after that, except the epilogue, which I'm not going to write until I've gotten everything else done. So that I know I can pull references as I have to in that. But I hadn't written the start of that chapter for the final scene. So I went back and I did that. But before I even did that today, I wrote the end of the scenes I had been thinking about on the trip. Because that then led into the chapter with the ultimate scene That is not the end scene. So I literally, like, started at one point and then connected it to the other points. And there's still some more of this I want to do, which is why I say I'm pretty sure I'm safely going to get to 30,000, because there is another chapter that still needs the end of it written. Because that was the point I got up to at the beginning, where I was writing an order, and then I hit this point and I was like, I don't know how to do this, because I'm getting my groups together, and it's another turning point in the story. And I was just kind of like, I don't know how to deal with this turning point, because it's not an action-packed turning point, but it is sort of an emotional turning point that I thought I had to resolve, and that was what I was missing. But from what I wrote today for finishing up another chapter, I know that this emotional turning point doesn't have to be resolved. It can be a standing problem that eventually gets addressed later. Eventually, insofar as my characters are humans and can't deal with all of their problems constantly. So, notably, as awful as that might sound, there are going to be some things that are just not dealt with fully here. Well, they're dealt with, but it doesn't solve the problems. So I've got to now go back and, like, finish off that chapter, which is chapter 7. So I did get, like, a huge chunk at the beginning. And then I would also love, between today and tomorrow, but no guarantees because it is another full chapter, there is just one more chapter, as I have it right now, between what I've got written at the start and one of those random chapters in the middle. So I would love to be able to finish chapter 7, write this missing chapter 8, if it is only this chapter that is in between them, and then chapter 9 will be there, already written, and getting me to the grand total of like end of chapter 9 before there's then just a massive stuff missing. No, it's weird, because if I get to 30,000 words within Nanowrimo, like I said, I'm happy with that, but I'm not quite then halfway there, because my first novel was at, like, 76,000 words, and my second novel only came in at 64,000. Which is fine, because action-wise, like, that discrepancy makes sense. And just look at the difference in the Harry Potter novels, like... Yeah, they have some different sizes, right? So I actually have no idea where the third one is going to end up. But I'm really proud that I've gotten this far. And I've figured a lot of things out. Like, the other thing that happened during Nanowrimo is the planning stages for a lot of, like, the end game action, which is very nice. Because that should make it a little easier for me after this point to write. So, I'm going to see if I can at least finish this chapter, get me into 30,000 words, and then maybe I will write another chapter. Who even knows? Who even knows? I don't even know. November 30th. You ready? Drum roll. 30,382 words. Yay! Fireworks, streamers, all the fancy things that I can't do on this video. I'm good at this. Yeah,
no, I am quite happy with that, considering everything that ended up happening in the month of November. And the fact that I'm trying to get this out for November 30th. I'm quite happy with that. Chapter 8, in fact, did not get written. But that's fine, because all the chapters I do have written are actually complete chapters. Which was definitely not my style writing Wolves Rising. That one was just an absolute mess when being written. So, I guess for me, Nanowrimo then is going to try and continue as I attempt to finish up this draft. Ooh, this is going to be fun. Yep, so I will see you for later videos. I definitely think next year I will attempt Nanowrimo again. But hopefully within, I'm not going to say the end of this year, because the more I think about it, the more there are other projects that also have more pressing deadlines. But I'm going to say within the first few months of the new year, I definitely want to have this one done, so I can then edit both Eagles Take Flight and Crow's Song. I'm excited. I am actually really excited. It's nice to have love for this novel back. But I gotta get this video edited and posted. I'll see you around.